I think the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Once again on Sunday, the Birds offense tried to do the same thing over and over again versus the Cowboys and shockingly got the same horrible result. Leaving Nick Sirianni and company no choice today but to finally make a much-needed change on offense. Plus, what's really going on with Saquon Barkley, why A.J. Brown is the least of Philadelphia's concerns, and some major injury news that will make the short week for Chicago feel even shorter. I'm Thomas Mott. This is the Thomas Mott Show. For over 11 weeks now, the Eagles have promised that things would start to look different on offense, and yet, for 11 weeks now, they've had moments of brilliance every single game for vast quarters of absolute nothing. Sunday's disaster in Big D was absolutely no different, as A.J. Brown in the passing game appeared fixed, at least early on, only to stall out in the final 40 minutes of play as Saquon Barkley and Kevin Patullo's unit were blanked after the first quarter. Yet despite some heroic efforts by the defense, George Pickens and company were way too much to handle. And now one day later, confidence and execution, penalties, and play calling are at an all-time low in the city of brotherly love, and now is not a better time to finally make a change before it's too late. First, though, despite the loss, I want to go ahead and do my favorite giveaway so far this season, a brand new collab with Jordan Spector Sports Art. It happens to be his Brandon Graham game-worn collectible Relic 55 trading card, where one of you who hits the subscribe button, drops a like, and comments BG down below will win another one of these Immortal Relics Brandon Graham game-worn jersey cards. I got the jersey one here. You can also get his cleats from Super Bowl 59. Jordan sent me two of these, one to give away, this one untouched, still sealed, ready to go, and then this one I'm going to unbox at the end of today's video to give you more details on it, but comment BG down below. This is a very rare giveaway, a super collectible item. Get on this bad boy before it's too late. Now, there's a real argument that to begin today, you must start with the most inexcusable part of Sunday, being, of course, the season-high 14 penalties, 4 of which were on the offensive line, 2 were on the wide receivers, and 1 was an illegal formation. All of which, however, came at critical times, as ESPN pointed out on this tweet here, where Philadelphia had a 3rd and 2, and a penalty on Juergens, and they went 3rd and long and punted. Or a 2nd and 2, penalty, turned into a 2nd and 7, they punted. Or a 2nd and 2, Goddard pass interference, 1st and 20, they then miss a field goal. And then worst of all, of course, the ball down to the 12 late in the game to Devonta Smith, but hands to the face by Fred Johnson negates it, and Saquon eventually fumbles the game away.
Yeah, uncharacteristic of us, obviously. You always put that on me.
Well, those are things that we have to eliminate. I'm only talking about myself. I even had a false start, I got to be on the same page and, hit a snap count and know the snap count, I should say. But it was just overall just, self-inflicted wounds.
And while the sound bites I just played you from the Eagles press conferences sound great, they're taking accountability, it starts with me, we can't keep having these penalties, it's not like Philadelphia's been a very disciplined team the entire season and we just suddenly had 14 penalties. There's been a problem every single game this year. It was just a little bit worse against the Dallas Cowboys. Philadelphia now has 30 penalties in the past 3 games alone, vaulting them to the top 6 most penalized teams in the entire NFL. And while sure, some of those were against Philadelphia, they're a little suspect to say the least. Cooper DeJean, looking at you. All of the ones I mentioned earlier were drive killers, and that's been the story all year long. Penalty kills a drive, and they punt.
Again, self-inflicted wounds. You can't expect to move the ball when you're committing things like face mask penalties, false starts, illegal formations. That stuff takes no talent, and it's something that we pride ourselves on at the Eagles. And so, I think large part of that, just a lack of focus, particularly in those crucial parts of the game, 3rd downs, or extending the 1st downs, making them 1st and 20, 2nd and 20. Like, you can't play behind the sticks. It's something that we've always talked about, and I truly think they did a great job today. So hats off to that defense. But I feel like we left a lot of yardage out there just due to the amount of penalties that we committed.
Self-inflicted wounds, you're behind the sticks, you make it that makes it really tough, regardless of their record. They're still a good football team. This is a division game, and every it's a game of inches. So.
But I guess at least penalties are somewhat easy to clean up. Like, technically, if they don't have 14 penalties, let's say they have 4 on Sunday, they probably win that game. For me, though, penalties aside, the real problem the media, for whatever reason, keeps ignoring, especially this week, continues to be Kevin Patullo and his vanilla offense that get blanked for vast quarters of games week after week after week. I find it absolutely hilarious that this week the Philadelphia media was all about A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts, they're the main problem. Oh my gosh, are they friends anymore? Trouble in paradise. And yet, A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts were the least of Philadelphia's problems on Sunday. It was all the other problems that were been the real problems the entire season that bit the Eagles in the butt. Once again, a diversion, a look away from what's actually wrong with the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, Hurts and Brown, they seemed perfectly fine to me. At least early, they connected on seemingly every single pass in the first half and looked like BFFs, at least all over again, where we thought they were entering the season.
We played a hell of a first half, and then we didn't play, not even close enough to our standard in the second half with the things that take no talent. Honestly, I look at a lot of those explosive plays and a lot of those opportunities. The ball bouncing the other way on a fumble, and just controlling the things we can on offense with the things that take no talent. So. Lots of room to learn from, and we got a short week to respond on it.
Also, I want to give a massive shout out to the sponsor of this video, Extra. This right here is actually the Extra Cardholder Pro, and it's funny because it's actually my Extra wallet. I've had this bad boy for, I think, over 6 months. Again, proof, there you go, there's all my cards right there, and I absolutely love this thing. First off, it's insanely slim, holds up to 14 cards, and is made from 100% recycled aluminum. And the highlight, of course, is the quick access button because it's super satisfying, but also makes grabbing all your credit cards way easier than a traditional wallet. I switched to this a while ago, as I said, and there's absolutely no going back. And the cool part about Extra is, as a company, they have a ton of other great products besides wallets, like their travel pack vacuum kit, this bad boy right here, which, again, it's a game changer. This bad boy triples your packing space by compressing your clothes using the modular vacuum bags made from anti-rip nylon. Just use the included portable USB-C rechargeable air pump or any vacuum cleaner to compress the bag. And each charge on this pump gives you about 20 uses. The bag itself, it's carry-on size, waterproof, and odor-proof, key factor there, and it keeps everything dry, organized, and clean. The last time I used it, I went to Philadelphia for training camp a couple of months ago, and helped me be able to buy extra Eagles gear at the pro shop and fit all inside my tiny little backpack. And right now, Extra's having their Black Friday sale. It runs until November 30th, and usually you'll get 54% off your purchase, which is great, but use my promo code ThomasMott via the link down below in my description box. You'll get 64% off your purchase, so try Extra, pick up a wallet. Trust me, you're going to love it. And by the way, speaking of Jalen by himself, how far down the list of Eagles issues is he at basically this point? I mean, 300 total yards of offense, 3 touchdowns, 0 turnovers. He's by no means perfect. Obviously, he's part of the offense when they're struggling. But while everyone wants to rip QB1, just take a second and realize, are you actually worried about a speck in the eye, which is Jalen Hurts' play, or the log that remains the offense as a whole? Kevin Patullo calls the plays. Kevin Patullo builds the script. Kevin Patullo designs the routes. And week after week after week, these plays and these routes are as vanilla as possible in the worst situations ever. And Sunday has made it perfectly clear. When Philadelphia was on script early, they fire on all cylinders. He can script stuff early on, and yet as soon as Dallas adjusts, Kevin Patullo has 0 answers, and once again, Philadelphia had, at one point, 27 yards on offense over the course of 16 straight plays. And if you want to comment, Thomas, Kevin Patullo, he's not creating all those penalties. He's not poorly blocking up front for Saquon Barkley. I don't disagree. I'm not saying it's all Kevin Patullo, but he's the offensive coordinator, and the offense starts somewhere, and the person designing the offense and making adjustments in-game starts with him, and it's been 11 weeks now. What more do you need to see before you finally go, yeah, maybe KP's got to go? If you don't believe me, listen to Landon Dickerson. He told the media after the game that Dallas showed a new defensive front look this week that they were not prepared for.
They gave us a defense that they rarely run, and yeah, we just didn't execute the game plan we had.
What was that defense?
Just 5 down fronts. It's not typically something they were running a whole lot, and turns out that was their flavor of the day.
So they started that way and then stayed that way. They didn't change the okay, yeah. So that you guys were countering with that by throwing more to start the game.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, okay.
And you just didn't adjust to it?
I mean, that's great. I don't come to the route concepts and stuff, but they really didn't do a whole lot of extra different stuff.
So Landon is saying they were not expecting 5-man fronts from the Dallas defensive line, that they adjusted to that, and then they had no answer to it. And when you actually think about that, it's the most ridiculous thing I have ever heard, if true, because you go back last week and Dallas ran a lot of 5-man fronts. I mean, literally, the majority of Dallas's defense against the Raiders 1 week ago was using 5-man fronts. So either Dickerson is lying here, which I doubt, or Kevin Patullo had the guys ill-prepared going into the game and then had no answer once the game started. And again, it's not like the Eagles start strong, then struggle, then eventually figure things out. They usually start slow. They stay slow. They have 1 or 2 good drives, and then they hang on because the defense always plays well. When you add the poor play calling, plus a rough second half on the defense, plus turnovers of your own, and 14 penalties, you're going to lose the game 99 times out of 100. But even despite all of that, back to Kevin Patullo, they had a 21-0 lead. 21-0. You're telling me that he could not simply scheme up enough plays, keep his foot on the gas, and eke out one more scoring drive, give him one more first down to bail out the defense? Nope, 21 in the first quarter, nothing the next 3. And again, for all the focus on Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown this week, why has everyone just forgotten that this rushing attack and offensive line, it's not just worse than last season, it's up there with the worst rushing attack and blocking scheme in the entire league. And Saquon Barkley, right now, has as many negative runs this season as Ashton Genty does with the Raiders. Barkley had just 22 rushing yards the entire day versus Dallas, and included runs of 2 yards, -1, 2, 7, 2, 1, 1, 5, 2, and 1. And in total, 5 yards before contact the entire day. And unfortunately, people, including Saquon, are blaming Saquon, yet for some reason are not wanting to call out the offensive line play and scheming ahead of him.
I don't know. Defense is doing a really good job. I'm not playing well. Just got to play better. That's really it. They did a really good job adjusting, and we just didn't make plays and 2 main mistakes, and especially, that fumble. I lost us points there. Got to be better with my ball security. Stuff like that kept popping up. I couldn't get the run game going, and that's really all it was. And they did. You got to give hats off to them.
And again, much like blaming A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts is the tip of the iceberg for the problems of the Bird offense, right now a lot of people blaming Saquon Barkley, saying he's lost a step, he's hurt, he's a shell of himself. Are you watching the same games that I'm watching right now? Just watch right here. The blocking in front of him. Where do you want him to go? Where do you see the running lanes? I mean, sure, he's dancing a little bit more this season. I like to see him just hit the hole and go, as Tank Bigsby does. We'll talk about that. But since the bye week, Barkley has 165 yards on the ground, and his longest run is simply 15 yards. Right now, he's clearly seeing ghosts out there because he has guys in his face play after play after play.
Confidence in how Saquon will respond to whatever he holds himself accountable to. So, he's taking a bat for that, but that's not all him. There are a lot of opportunities in the game to not even be in that situation. So I can't put that on him. But as a competitor, I know how he is, I know where he is, and I know how he'll work.
And we're 11 weeks in. I don't know if the offensive line is going to magically figure things out week 12 or week 13 or the wild card round of the playoffs. But if your offensive line is struggling, you need to scheme to help it. You need to scheme passing plays to help it and running plays to help it and more RPOs and more quarterback runs. And that all takes us back to Kevin Patullo. He's not done that. We're 11 weeks in. How many more weeks does he need? And let me be clear, I don't like calling for people's jobs. I've said this in the past, especially for an 8-3 team that is very much in the playoff race, as we'll talk about. But I've seen enough. He's had 11 weeks to even show us a 10% growth and improvement, and it's just not been there. I think it's time to demote Kevin Patullo, and that time is right now. Give the play calling to Scott Loeffler, maybe Nick Sirianni. I don't care. They need to make a move before the season gets out of hand. Also, by the way, on Tank Bigsby, I mentioned him earlier, he does need more carries. Even though I'm not going to blame Saquon Barkley, Bigsby is averaging 9.1 yards per rush this season on just 18 carries. I'm not saying split carries between 37 and 26, but Tank should have at least 7+ carries a game going forward. Just try it, see what happens. Again, play calling Kevin Patullo, he should have figured that out.
Saquon keeps kind of taking ownership.
It's not on Saquon. It's on all of us. It's on all of us. You can just watch the film. We always say we're one block away. As tiring and as repetitive as that is the truth.
I am curious down below, is there anyone in the comment section who doesn't think Kevin Patullo is a prop right now, who's going to say, Thomas, KP's not the issue. Keep him going longer. I want to see what he can do. If you are, let me know your reasoning down below. But man, at this point, it starts with KP, it ends with KP, and there's a lot of execution problems in between. Now, that does lead us to the defense, and despite, I think, playing lights out basically the entire day, something eventually had to give for this unit. Like, you can only ask them to get so many stops in the red zone when your offense continues to put them in bad situation after bad situation. I mean, listen, Dak and Pickens, they're red hot right now. Maybe the best quarterback-wide receiver tandem in the entire NFL. No one has stopped in the past couple of weeks. Yet even after perhaps a cuttable offense by Xavier Gibson on this idiotic punt return, I don't even want to talk about this, it's so dumb. The Birds defense did hold Dallas 4 times inside the 5, gave the ball right back to their offense. I mean, we're literally a Zach Bond catching this interception away, the Birds defense bailing out the offense once again for the 3rd straight week. And there's a real argument today that the Cowboys offense the past couple of weeks is the best in the National Football League, right up there with the LA Rams, and yet you held them to 24 points, 0 in the first quarter, and had a real chance to win this football game, at least on defense. Had Saquon not fumbled, had Gibson not made a lot of mistakes, all the penalties on offense. This defense played their butts off. They gave up a ton of yards, but in the end, they played more than well enough to go ahead and win. They have to get help from the other side. Now, of course, again, they're not absolved from all issues. I do think they have some problems in the secondary. I think Cooper DeJean needs to stay in the slot, and depending on Adoree Jackson's health this week, I might give Ja'Cory Bennett a try on the outside. I mean, maybe he's worse. I don't know. But at this point, at least give it a try, especially now that there are quite a few losses piling up in the secondary with a short turnaround on Friday. You're probably not going to have Adoree Jackson. He has a concussion. Reed Blankenkship has some sort of, I don't know, hamstring thigh issue. We don't know the severity of this morning. And then, worst of all, Drew Mukuba, ankle issue. He was seen in the locker room in a walking boot postgame. Safe to say right now, Mukuba, Reed Blankenkship, they might be out for an early turnaround on Friday, and that is going to make the secondary even more suspect. But I do think all of this leads to a great final point as I try to always be positive on this show. I know I'm not always that positive, but we got to at least acknowledge Philadelphia's 8-3. If they somehow beat Chicago, big if, we'll talk about that game this week. That's a very good football team. They all but lock up the NFC East on Friday, and most likely are at worst going to be the 2 seed. And despite 3 bad losses, which all came against non-playoff factor teams, key factor here in New York, Dallas, and Denver, the struggling Birds still hold the tiebreakers over LA, potentially Chicago, Tampa, Green Bay, and Detroit. Which is why you must make changes on offense. You must swap out the play caller. You must play Tank Bigsby more. You must find a way to protect leads and bail out your defense, because we've been waiting all season long for Philadelphia to, I don't know, figure things out. And instead, we keep waiting every game to see if they're going to blow it in a new special way. And on Sunday, all the mistakes piled up, which hopefully they won't do many of them going forward. And so, maybe you have 7 penalties on Friday versus the Bears. You don't turn the football over and you win even if the offense keeps struggling. But I'm at a point where I look around the National Football League, I see Philadelphia has a chance to lock up home field advantage, to be a playoff team that hosts people at the Link. And I want to do everything possible to protect that and get some momentum going forward. And I think the offense as a whole is desperate for a change. And to me, it's time to make that change. And that, of course, is Kevin Patullo.
We gotta own this one. Let it light a fire in us as a team and stay together and move forward.
Not too worried about this group. Not too worried about it. Obviously, it's things that we want to get better with, things that we're going to talk about and discuss. But overall, as a group, you're not worried about it because we got men in this room who wants to be better, wants to, put it on themselves, so.
Now, of course, I mentioned at the beginning of today's show, but I want to end today's show showing off the Jordan Spector Art Brandon Graham Immortal Relic trading card piece here, which is unbelievable. He gave us one of these to go ahead and give away. He's giving me 2. I get to keep this one, which I'll unbox and show you, and then this one will stay completely unopened for you guys to go ahead and potentially win later on this week. But it's really the details behind this collab that I want to emphasize here at the end of today's show, because essentially there's a piece of Brandon Graham's either game-worn jersey from the Super Bowl last year or his cleats, with 9 distinct Relic die cuts, 27 design iterations, and 200 plus authentic autographs, most importantly here, including 15 special inscriptions. And if you're lucky, and we don't know if either of these are lucky, you might pull one of the 8 one-of-one cards. And so basically, you're guaranteed the piece of jersey or cleats from the Super Bowl, but you also could get lucky and maybe pull something even more incredible, which again, I'm going to open up mine right now, see what happens. But this one's unopened, so you never know if you win it, if it is one of the, 8 one-of-one cards. So let's just unbox. I want to show you guys the experience here. I think it's absolutely incredible. I'm telling you, the design of this, top notch here. So you open it up, immortalized there on the bottom, you get it on the top, and then of course on the back here as well. And I've never opened this before. I think you just open it like this. Okay, yeah, just like this. Okay, so you open it like this. I can show you how this works. Like this, and then you get a little piece of card up front, which shows you the certificate of authenticity, so you know it's actually legit Brandon Graham stuff right there. And then, wow, there it is. There's the card. Holy cow. Look at that thing. Look how you open that up. And there's the card. And it is, oh my gosh, unbelievable. Official collection with a piece of his game-worn jersey right there. You see that? I don't know if I get it with the glare. Man, that is, I'm telling you, this is something special. Okay, what else do we have in the box? Also in the box, you go ahead and have your stand, so you can go ahead and show off the card. I'm going to put my card probably up there as well. And then make sure there's nothing else inside here. It looks like that's basically it. And so, wow, there's the card. So I'm going to get to keep this one. And then the main goal of this giveaway is to show you what it's actually like to get one of these and then give one for yourself. So make sure you guys commented BG down below to go ahead and enter. I'll be giving this away probably during the game on Black Friday or the recap on Saturday, but you got to be subscribed. You got to drop a like. And one of you guys is going to win this bad boy right here. I'm telling you, Jordan Spector, as I just dropped that, but as you see, one take here is Jordan Spector. He's incredible. And the fact that he sent me one of these with an actual piece of Brandon Graham's Super Bowl jersey, nothing gets better than this. Hopefully we'll see one of you guys win. Finally, one other point here. Black Friday, it's here. Jordan Spector has a ton of great discounts on all of his artwork, but use my promo code TMOT10 for an additional 10% off. And so if you want to get the collectible, you want to get an art piece, check them out. All linked down below. Use my promo code as well. Now, of course, plenty more stuff happening the next couple of days and weeks. A quick turnaround. Despite it being Thanksgiving, we'll be working here on the channel. Be sure to go ahead and subscribe. And let me know if you guys want to win the BG, Relic card. Potential to have an autograph in here. I've not looked. I don't know. It for sure has the game-worn cleats or jersey as usual, but it could also have an autograph. So let me know down below in the comments section. Crazy loss. They're still 8-3. I'm going to read all your comments and see where you guys are at. I know doom and gloom heading into Thanksgiving, but try and enjoy it with your family. As always, I'm thankful for you guys for watching this show. Thomas Mott. This has been the Thomas Mott Show.